Previously on Game of Bullpups.
Game of Bullpups.
Dun 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 dun.
I don't even know that show. Thank you for tuning in to an episode of InRange. This is going to be another episode about the Desert Tech MDR, and you may have already seen a video on the channel about converting this from 308 to 556. If you haven't, I'd compel you to watch it because it's a mechanically very fascinatingly well-designed gun in that regard. I have shot this at the SMM 3G match up at Rio Salado. It's a big 3-gun event, and that match was interesting in that I shot it in 308, and that's a different environment than what we do with 2-gun. And so now that we have this in 556, we're going to shoot this at a 2-gun match, but also this is your first time ever on the clock with this.
Yeah, I have actually yet to pull the trigger on the 556 version.
That is true. So
it showed up about 2 days ago. You put it into the gun, zeroed it, and now we're here at a match.
That is, and boy, that is not necessarily the accelerated rate we want to do things, but it's also going to give the audience and both of us, I think, a very clear perspective on how this works in the environment.
Raw and unfiltered first impression of the 556 MDR.
Now, you've shot a bullpup in competition a number of times.
Sure, I shot Desert Brutality, the original Desert Brutality with a bullpup. The best bullpup.
The best?
Well, the coolest.
Well, you don't know that yet. You haven't shot this on the clock.
True.
Oh, your bias is showing.
Yes.
But
yes,
you shot a
is.
FAMAS.
Yeah.
But that said, a bullpup. Right. So some of the biomechanical interface is not as foreign to you in that you've done it on the clock.
Yeah.
Yep. And we've shot others too. We shot the Tavor and some other stuff as well. So far with the conversion kit, I can tell you that this gun's run well. I've had no real issues with it. We got the red dot zeroed, and we've got some really challenging targets out here today too.
Yeah, we got small targets at 200, and they are, as is typical for 2-gun, dirt gray colored.
Yeah, pretty much invisible.
Because we don't paint targets, so they kind of start white, and then they end up... We don't paint them at the beginning of the match. Like, they started white 6 months ago, and now they're bullet spatter colored and in the shadows.
No paint policy. So. But what I'm hoping to do is we've got 3 stages today that are rifle only. So what I think we want to do is not emphasize so much the match or even our performance, but that's important. But what both of us take out of this, shooting this unusual bullpup design in 3 different stages that have really 3 different emphases. One's long range, one's a really like close quarters thing, and another one's kind of a fire and maneuver event. So I think that's going to give us a real flushed out idea of the bullpup.
Should be interesting.
Yeah, so stay tuned for 3 videos specifically about the 556 Desert Tech MDR. All right, this will be our longest range stage, although I don't know that 200 yards is long range, but it is for us. Shooter will start with loaded rifle on safe, starting in start box, which is actually this hula hoop right behind me. At buzzer, shooter will engage all 4 targets with 1 hit each. We have 2 mini IPSCs at about 100-something yards, and we have 2 mini Qs at 200 yards. Shooter will then repeat this engagement from boxes 2, 3, and 4, and they've acquired 1 hit on each target from all 4 hula hoops. Anything less than 16 hits will be scored as a miss. How you engage the targets is up to you. It's freestyle, although I would recommend prone. Stand by. Hit! Hit! Left! Right! Right! Left! Hit! Hit! Right! Hit! 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 Right! Right! Left! Right! Hit! Hit! Left! Right! Left, left! Left! Just above! Hit! 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 Low! Hit! Left! Right! Left! Fairly left! Left low! Hit! Below! Left! Hit! 107. You good?
We're putting the times down here. We'll fix it.
All right. All right. Shooter, are you ready?
Yep.
Stand by. Hit!
Hit! Left! Hit! Left!
Left.
Left! Hit!
Oh, hell yeah.
Hit!
Nice.
Left! Hit! Hit! Left! Hit! Right! Left! Hit! Hit! Left! No. Stay. You still have to hit that target.
Yeah, you still have. Moved on. Left.
Hit! Left! Hit! Hit! Left! Hit! Blow! Right! Hit! Hit! Left! Hit!
Nice. Excellent.
113.66. All right.
Okay, so we just got done with what is the longest range that we're capable of doing here at Two Gun Action Challenge Match, which is 200 yards.
On invisible targets.
Kind of invisible targets. We have a no paint policy here, and we have mini IPSCs, which are really about that big, at over 100, and mini Qs, which are about that big, at 200 yards. And they're never painted, and they are very hard to distinguish from the background soil. Everybody gets faced with that same problem here, and that's why we have the no paint policy.
That's actually a really cool way to extend the difficulty beyond the physical range that we're able to have.
I agree. And it also, I think, presents a more realistic challenge in that targets aren't just so obviously discernible.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what we're here to talk about is the MDR on those really difficult, well, fairly difficult long-range targets for us. Both of us struggled a little bit with both left and right windage.
Yes.
And I think that you're attributing that potentially to the parallax of, honestly, this is what we had available at the moment, a high lux red dot.
I suspect, it's just a hypothesis at this point, but I was able to get hits. I felt better when I was being very careful to have the dot in the very center of the optic, which on a good quality scope, you shouldn't have to. But in a Chinesium scope, you may have to.
That's good advice in any red dot, regardless. However, some are more parallax-free than others. That said, I'm not sure that that's the case. I agree, but what was interesting, and maybe this could be based on both shoulderedness or handedness, your misses tended to be left, and mine tended to be right. I think there might be a combination of things here, and while the trigger on the MDR is, I would say, better than average for a bullpup, it's still not necessarily doing you favors.
This is true.
It's acceptable. What would you relate it to, like a standard USGI AR?
Yeah, it's decent, but it's no match trigger.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, I've heard people say that it's like a match trigger. I'm like, I don't see that.
It's a match trigger if you're used to an AUG.
Oh yeah. Or how does it compare to the FAMAS trigger actually?
Pretty similar.
Similar.
The FAMAS trigger is also not a match trigger, but not bad.
Bullpups are one of the things. You have to have a transfer bar, and I think they've done a better than average job with this design, but it's still not a match trigger. And if you're ever going to upgrade your gun to make it easier on you to be more accurate, you're the one that's accurate, but to make it easier, trigger's the first place you start. But what about, okay, never mind that. What about the ergonomics, handling on the ground, stable position?
It's substantially back heavy. The balance point's like back here.
It is.
What I found myself doing was actually bringing my support hand back here, resting my support hand on the ground,
Interesting.
and using that as my point of, like, this was the equivalent of monopod in the magazine for me.
Okay.
I think you could monopod on the mag itself, but to me that was a little uncomfortably low. and this worked better for me to allow me, I can kind of reshape my hand and move the gun up or down in increments as necessary.
Now, I did monopod on the mag, and I found that to be a big difference between the 308 variant and the 223 variant, or 5.56 variant. The 30 round mag is a little longer. In fact, actually, we can't do that in the, we could have, a 40 rounder.
Would be better.
Oddly, a longer magazine length on this would actually be better for using the magazine as ground support.
We talked a lot before the match about potentially putting a bipod on it, but the bipod presents some really interesting challenges in that if you have to pretty much mount the bipod on the frontmost thing.
Unless you want to hold a bipod for your grip.
Yeah, if you want to retain any sort of grip. But once you've got a bipod here, either it's going to extend forward, it's going to get blasted by the muzzle, and you're going to have to put your hand in front of the muzzle to deploy the bipod, or you're going to fold it backwards, and then it's really going to interfere with getting a regular non-bipod shooting grip on the gun. Or you leave the thing deployed all the time, but that presents its own problems. We weren't able to come up with a good bipod solution here.
I mean, if you were to QD it on when you need it and take it off when you don't need it, you still have some kind of attachment here, unless it's an M-lock system.
Yeah.
I even tried, people are going to say, I even tried the Veltor ones that mount here, and extend forward, very much FAMAS-like in that they're static legs, and I made the legs long enough, so when you go prone, you have to have the legs long enough that you can get this out of the way. And with the Veltors, with the legs at the longest extent of their travel, you could only shoot essentially directly 90 degrees to the ground. If the target had any elevation higher than that, you start bumping into the magazine or the buttstock, even with a 20 round mag.
Wow. Okay.
So now I did monopod with the mag, and I'm thinking that we didn't try that today, but it'd be an interesting idea. Put a 40 rounder in here. You know how they make those cool mag pull little footsies?
Yeah.
I bet you if you put a footsie on a 40 rounder and then use the mag as your ground support, that might be a good answer for a bullpup using AR mags. So, something to experiment with. But that said, I think a lot of people, when they hear us resting on the mag, they're like, you don't do that. But actually, you do.
Yeah, you do.
That's something you get trained in the military. No, if you...
I don't know that that's still true.
It used to be.
I know it used to be, but I think they're coming around on that.
Yeah. Because if you can get on the ground, of course, bone support's one thing, but if you can get the gun on the ground or the mag on the ground, that's wildly better.
One thing I want to make sure we don't skip completely over, we didn't talk about like mechanical reliability at all.
No.
Because the gun worked perfectly.
Oh, good point. We had no issues whatsoever.
In fact, I ran the stage twice.
Yes.
Because the optic came loose on me the first time, which is no fault of the gun.
Which we fixed and re-zeroed.
But I dumped a lot of ammo in that first stage trying to get hits.
Yes.
And then I ran it again. You ran it. Literally had no problems whatsoever. The recoil is definitely nicer than on the 308 version of the MDR. In fact, didn't notice the recoil. So obviously it's there, but it was in no way distracting.
You know, when the 308 new gas system came to us, the recoil was better.
It was.
However, when I shot this at the SMM3 gun match up at Rio in 308, there's a problem with, there's still enough recoil in this gun. I think the 308 bottoms out more than the 5.56.
I wouldn't surprise me.
It's jarring. This is just a perception thing. But when there's targets at 200, 300, or 400 yards, one of the things you need to be able to do is fire the round, call your shot, which is something to do with the trigger as well. Call your shot, but then if you can, see the splash.
Right.
If you missed, okay, I was 2 o'clock, 1 foot off to the right. When the recoil of the 308 kind of goes whoosh and it's gone, you've lost that. And the shot-to-shot recovery then makes it much more difficult to make a follow-up shot on a target that you might have just narrowly missed. That was not the case with 5.56.
It's a much nicer gun than 5.56.
Yeah, so I think we're following, it's turning out to be what we said, which is, I think we're more interested in this in 5.56 than in the 308.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything more to say about the long range at this point.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm curious to put it on paper.
I agree, we haven't done that yet either.
Because maybe it just has wildly awful dispersion. I doubt it.
I doubt it. So, but we do have 2 more stages that are more like CQB oriented coming up. So if you like this and you want to learn more about the MDR, and hopefully those stages will pull out some of the benefits of a bullpup directly because they're kind of like really close quarters. Stay tuned for more videos.